Hello, everybody. Good morning, Omaha. Welcome to Built Different. My name is Katie Breidenbach with Katie Noel Studio. Today we have a very special guest. We have Chad Frey. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be
bet.
here.
It's been a good morning so far. Chad, tell the audience, who are you?
Yeah, I am Chad Frey. I was actually born and raised here in Nebraska. I spent about the last 15 years outside of Nebraska, and my wife and I just moved back about 3 months ago from Washington, D.C. So it is a big shift coming back, but I run a few different organizations. My main time and energy goes into an organization right now called Bison Biocomposites, where we produce sustainable building materials for built environments like the one that we're in, or residential, commercial, anything in between.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm an interior designer, so I very much respect what you're doing.
Amazing.
And it's very,
Likewise.
very well needed.
Thank you.
So were you in Washington, were you doing something very similar, or is this what brought you to Omaha?
I was, yeah. I've been working on advocacy and regulatory compliance in this realm for a long time, and connecting with the powers that be to try and get some common sense regulations pushed through. And then, it was just a home base for us that we had grown to love.
Yeah.
And now we're back to help some family. So
I love that.
A little bit of a life shift.
Is there a kind of a story of how you got to this certain place, especially in Omaha now? Do you have family here?
I do, yeah. My sister's here, and I have 2 nieces, and my mom's still here. So we came back to help out after an unfortunate family trauma, but it's good to be back in the familiar zone of Omaha. I think what led us into the sustainable building materials side was, finding alternatives. And I grew up on a farm here in Nebraska, so I see the impact that corn and soy and traditional commodity crops have on farmers, especially right now with farmers not making any money.
Yeah.
So with that hurt and with that pain, I wanted to provide a solution, right? And that solution is farmers having a secondary crop that is hemp. And hemp has been, put down and stigmatized for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so my focus was to create an infrastructure around that destigmatizes.
That's incredible. Yeah, people don't even realize there's so many other ways to use a product.
Yeah.
And that's why God creates it in the first
Right.
place, I feel like.
Absolutely.
There's your solution.
Yeah.
Very cool. So when you came to Omaha too, was this something that, I know you said there was kind of an unfortunate thing. I always like to say the breakdown creates the breakthrough.
For sure.
So what's been your favorite part about moving back so far?
I think my favorite part is always, I'm very growth mindset, right? So I get to see the community in a different aspect than what it was when I was here, creating new relationships and, getting out there with new opportunities for the economic viability and development of Nebraska, as opposed to somewhere where maybe I wasn't grown up and brought up. So that has a big impact, and seeing all the things that, were around when I was a kid, seeing the immense growth and change of the city.
Yeah, this right here.
For sure, right? I remember coming down here when I was younger, and we would break bottles, and these were abandoned buildings, and now it's not that at all.
I'm probably told not to come down to this part of town very often. Yeah.
So a lot different.
Definitely. I moved away briefly from Omaha. I went to Arizona, and I moved down here to the Hello apartment just across the way, and I left, came back, and this whole thing was developed. And I was like, wow, that was fast.
It's wild. It's beautiful.
But I think Omaha definitely needed something like this. And, talk about sustainable design.
Yeah.
I know that this building has definitely kind of followed that path, which I hope is inspiring other people.
Yeah, right.
Other businesses in the community.
I think that's a big thing, right? We came into this saying, how do we take conventional construction and translate a new material into it, right? And the one thing that we see is that it's hard for builders and developers to take on a new project and cut their margins, right? So that's the first thing that we targeted, was how are we going to be price and cost competitive, and how can we integrate this the most seamless possible way? And for us, we landed on a few different options, which was great, and that innovation has led to a lot faster and more efficient uptake in our materials. But yeah, I mean, this building that we're in is a mass timber building that they renovated, and our materials directly integrate into those types of things, right? Where we can replace old oil and gas, polystyrene, toxic materials that are in buildings with cleaner, healthier, breathable, more eco-friendly and performance-driven option that costs the same. So it's a no-brainer to switch, right?
Especially the cost the same, and it's like, wait,
Yeah.
why would we want toxic materials
Right.
around? And a lot of people don't even know.
Exactly.
I mean, even just with the paint on
Yeah.
the walls, and you would just be so surprised
For
about
sure.
the things that we are constantly around that are potentially not making us have a long, thriving life.
Yeah. And I'm sure you see it a lot in your day-to-day, right? And what are some of the things that you're seeing with your customers or your clients that you work with in terms of
Genuinely,
a healthy home?
paint has been
Yeah.
like the biggest thing. I've recently started volunteering with a nonprofit called Special Spaces, and they create and design rooms with kids with cancer, or they've been, if they've been in remission the last year, and we can't do, obviously, so we have to do the makeover in one day, like the
Yeah.
entire makeover. And it's not just like rearranging furniture, like
That's
we're
fun, though.
taking everything out of the room, literally repainting the whole
Wow.
thing, getting all new furniture, disassembling the furniture, and then bringing it all back in. And there's a huge volunteer of teams. I just volunteer my time for that because that's what fills my
amazing.
heart and brings me joy.
Yeah.
But you would just be shocked at, there's so many simple ways that you can, one, make a space less dangerous is kind of a tough word, but just
Yeah, and toxic's harsh too,
yeah, I
like-
know, but it's because we don't know what we don't know,
Right.
and I think I didn't even know until getting into design
Yeah.
really what was all around us. So,
Right.
but yeah, that would probably be the first thing that I think of.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So, what is your why behind what you do now? I know you said you're very solution oriented when it comes to wanting to solve these problems, but was there like a deeper story when you were younger, or did something just kind of fall in your lap where you were like, oh, this isn't right?
Yeah, I think I've always been very focused on leaving the world better than I found it, right? And that is something that has been instilled in me from day one. And I've had great family around me to show me that, the value of that pays off, right? And I find joy in helping other people everywhere, and that's what fills my cup.
Yeah.
So when I found a product that could sequester carbon, that can be integrated into building materials, that provides jobs and value across an economic landscape, I think it was an amalgamation of everything, right? I look at the world in a sense of my life is kind of like a mosaic of the people and the places and the things that I do, right? And
Absolutely.
that takes time to get put together, right? And it's
Yeah.
still going to take time for me to
Yeah.
live that life of what may come. So, learning and business and starting businesses and failing and meeting people and then just continuing to build off of those experiences
Yeah.
is probably what got me to this place. But that why that's rooted is just helping people.
Yeah.
I think, that's what it really comes down to in the core of me.
I love how you said leaving the world better than you found it. That's why I did. I'm like, I want to help people see the beauty all around
Yeah.
them. And it's not like a materialistic thing. It's like when you see the beauty and you appreciate the things around you, you're actually able to enjoy what's around you
Yeah.
and yourself a little bit more and the people around you.
Yeah,
so
and
it's
you
just a
usually
win-win
light
for
up people
everyone.
too, right? Like
Yeah.
you get to share yourself and in turn, light the fire within you.
Yeah, I love that. And you said, I love the mosaic explanation of your life. That is such a great visual.
Yeah.
I'm a very visual person too, but what would be, obviously there's a lot, you said, failing even a part of the journey, and some people don't even realize that. I think trying is winning.
For
And
sure.
so even if you're failing, you're still learning.
Yeah.
So what would be advice to that past version of you who maybe was a little resistant to failing?
I think a lot of that person is still in me, and you can't really wash that away,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's probably a good thing that you can't wash all of that away because it's a constant reminder, kind of like a scar, right? That, okay, that happened, right?
Yeah.
And that was painful in the time, but I've healed. And I like to think that I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't be the person that I am today, right? There is no regret there. But at the end of the day, I think if I could have had a mentor in myself in today, I would have said, take it in stride. You're not going to get things immediately, right? Things are going to take time, and that's how they compound, right?
Yeah.
And if you do the right thing, even when no one's looking, and your reputation precedes you, again, there's the old adage of, the Oracle of Omaha, where, it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it.
Yeah,
right? So
that's huge.
if I would have known that when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have done some of the dumb stuff that I did. But, in that learning, I think I had to create those mental pathways my own, right?
Oh,
I had
absolutely.
to have those experiences.
Yeah.
And I mentor a lot of up and coming business students, or, entrepreneurs, I should say, right now. And, the one thing is that they want it immediately. It's that immediate gratification, and I understand it. It's just hard to say. You have to live it. You have to experience it, and you have to try. But don't do it perfectly. I would say that.
Yeah. You're speaking my language, because I feel like that's, when I started my own business, it's like, you have the steps and you have the tools of like, okay, I know I have all the things I need to do, so let's do it. But it's like, no, but you also have to become the person that wants all those things, because if you get the thing that you want in that moment and you're not ready for it, how are you going to sustain it?
For sure.
And how are you not going to, that's where like learning comes in, and enjoying the process versus like, that was a huge thing for me personally was, I can actually enjoy this process just because I'm not exactly where I want to be. And then usually you end up somewhere even better than where you were before.
Definitely. And if your why is a little bit bigger than just an outcome, right? If you have to separate your vision from the mission, right? And that vision has to be something that you can never attain, right? And that mission is the climbing of the mountain, right? That you can get a new mission. So I think in discovering that I can accomplish multiple missions throughout my life, but that vision of helping people will always remain a constant. I think I don't get tired of that, right? So I don't accomplish that. I do in so many small missions, but at the end of the day, it's always going to reign true to have, that North Star that's out there that pushes me.
What is that North Star for you in your professional journey, your personal journey? Yeah.
I think in the past it was, wanting accolades, right? Wanting to be somebody that was respected or has notoriety. That has shifted when I got older, and it really turned into the joy of the journey. You said that a little bit, right? Where it's something I find joy in the present, in the day-to-day of the impact that I can have. Again, another analogy is the little girl walking on the beach, and there's starfish, and she's throwing individual starfish back in the ocean, and the guy comes up and he sees her and he says, "What are you doing? Like, you're never going to be able to save all of these." And she says, "Well, I just saved that one." Right?
I love
and
that.
that's a good feeling, right? Like knowing that your impact actually matters to an individual or a small group, or maybe that impact can grow and scale over time to have a stronger impact. And that, I think that's my drive, right? Is knowing that one day, like, hopefully the legacy that I leave is something that's very beneficial to others in their own life.
Yeah. Well, and even you just said ocean, so it makes me think of like, when you throw a pebble into the ocean, the ripple effect of that, and how far that goes, and you don't even realize it. Like, you could be helping and influencing someone that you may not even know directly, but someone,
100%.
And that's where, you mentioned integrity too, when you're in part of that journey, and that's why it's so important too, is like, if it's coming from a place of love, then you actually know that it's going to make an impact in some way, and you don't have to worry.
You're right.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to future you?
I think the advice I would give to future me that I've been working on this year and last year a little bit is, taking more time to be present, right? Stopping to work intently so much, right? Stop focusing on having so much of my time enveloped in work. I think it's really easy to get lost in that, right? And, I come from an addictive family, right? So I think it's just a lot more societally acceptable to, be addicted to work than anything else.
Yep.
And
people like pass it off as normal.
Oh,
or
yeah.
way more, because it's,
for sure. You're
making money. You're making money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have tenacity and grit and determination.
And you're like, well, I'm really dysregulated now, but okay.
Yeah, right. So I'm trying to re-regulate that. That's a really great word to use. And with that, I think I find my innovation and creativity in time away from work, right? You can't be focused on the problem so much. You have to go and walk or explore or try new things. And those are the things that I'm being really deliberate with.
Yeah.
So for my future self, what I want to tell them is hopefully I've done that to an extent to where, we've created new experiences in our lives to fill out that mosaic a little bit more on a
Right,
personal
and that's
side.
like really the whole point of life is having those
Yeah.
experiences for yourself and taking those experiences and creating something that you didn't even know could exist.
For sure.
Yeah, and go take walks. I love that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
like
yeah.
literally, I think it was around
Touch
COVID.
grass, right? That's what kids are
Grounding,
saying now?
yeah. I just got a grounding mat on my bed, and I'm actually shocked.
Oh,
I've
that's
like
awesome.
felt like now I think I'm kind of used to it and acclimated to it, but I
Yeah.
do think it works. So I'm
Yeah.
like, put
All
that on the
these,
list.
granola chewy things that people are talking about actually seem to work,
I
right? That's
know.
weird.
It's crazy that too that we almost like have to convince people now of the granola things, like go touch grass.
Yeah.
Like, well, how did that become the norm?
Yeah, go get some fresh air, right? Like,
Yeah.
Get out of the house. That's what my mom would always say that, right? Like, get the hell out of here. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like,
You're like,
get
"What?"
outside. Don't come back.
Uh-huh.
But the world shifted. Like, I see my sister now, and there's a little bit more of a helicopter parent there than what our parents were. But yeah, I think it's good. I think, people are going more analog, right? Disconnecting, unplugging.
And
My wife has an application called a Brick that she bricked her phone and like got off all social.
Good for
I know, right?
her.
And just like the mental health aspect,
Yeah.
right?
Have you seen it? Like, has she noticed an
100%.
impact?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wild. And yeah, there she is. So I can't talk too
Wow,
much
the
about
irony.
her.
Hello. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Have you, so like I love the analog. That's like literally why I got into design, because I was an event producer before and did set design, but it was just so much of like having to prepare for the future. And I so much just wanted to create a space in the now. And that's kind of what you're doing now with your business too, which is so incredible. What is something that you would say changed like where did you start out, I should say, and kind of, was it completely different than where you are now?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And this has been an extremely quick developing organization, right? So what I learned in the past is everything that I've done, every organization that I've founded, I did myself, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to put the sweat equity in. I'm going to bootstrap this. I'm going to never go to investors. I'm not going to go out and search for that because I know how to make money. Like I come from sales. I worked for a couple of Fortune 500 organizations where I led their sales teams, and I was, I loved it, right? So I took that skill and applied it into my entrepreneurship and developing and founding organizations. What I learned was that you can go fast by yourself,
Yeah.
but you can't go far quick,
Yeah,
So
100%.
with Bison, with this organization, I looked for people that were in the organizations or industries that we can expand into. So I found my executives in precast construction and precast concrete manufacturing, in consulting and mergers and acquisitions for construction organizations and large construction industry. And, we have a material scientist who's a PhD at the Peter Kiewit Institute that we work with,
Oh, wow.
who I've learned infinite amount of things from. So surrounding yourself with the right people, right?
So
It's
important.
people. That's all this world is, and especially business, that's what it is. And I didn't realize that when I was, by myself until I started building teams, and still I had to, be that leader in that organization. So I feel like you can expedite anything if you find the right people that share the right passion and that mission as to why, right? And once you find those people, you better just hold on because
It's
gonna,
rare too.
It is very rare.
That's something that I didn't realize either until I became an entrepreneur, and it was like, oh, why did I do this? I love people. But then that's when you find your people, and that's what's so beautiful about it.
And I think it's scary, right? Like, I think you don't want to let people down, right? You don't want to see this crash and burn. And when you fail, you kind of get those licks in a little bit more, so where it's not as painful, right? And you have that confidence built into you that
Definitely.
you know
that
you're
is
gonna
what
succeed.
confidence is like action. I think so many people think it's like a mindset. What it is, a mindset, but you have to have that inspired action behind that.
For sure.
And being the teacher and the student all in one, too, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But, okay, so I know we're running out of time, so how can people reach you?
You can go to bisonbiocomposites.com. That's our sustainable building materials website. We're going to be doing a lot more workshops, and you can come look, touch, and feel. We'll be building things. We're working with the Habitat for Humanity on a couple of things. We're working on a few local projects to where we can get our materials out in the wild, I like to say, so that people can actually understand what they are a little bit more. You can find me on LinkedIn. That's probably where I mostly am. I post a lot there just with new developments, and yeah.
It's Chad Frey, right? Just like
Yep.
French fry.
French fry,
So it's
but with
very
an
easy
E.
to find.
Yeah, Frey.
Okay,
Yep.
don't forget the E.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Chad. I
it was a
really
pleasure,
enjoyed
Katie.
our conversation this morning.
Likewise, yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, this was Built Different, and we will see you next time. Bye.